Hello and welcome to Rathods IAS Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see very important articles updated in our today's and as well as yesterday's Hindi newspaper. So let's get started with our discussion. First, I'll let you know the important topics of the day, and later on we are going to analyze each and every topic from prelims, mains and interview point of view. And at last, I'll be giving you prelims practice questions as well, guys. Online students, please don't skip this video anyway. Please do watch until last. Okay, first of all, let us see the topics of the day. The first one is regulations to implement new Rural Job Act it to be finalized. So this article is talking about new Rural Job Act. What is that new Rural Job Act that we discussed I think 3 months ago? VBG Ramji bill was passed and it became an act, right? So this article it is about VBG Ramji Act. This replaced which act? MG Narega. So it is focusing on rural employment. So here we are going to come up with certain regulations and that regulations to be finalized before implementing that act. So because of this it is in news and it is important from your polity and as well as governance point of view from GS paper 2. And next topic is Walmiki community to protest for rising quota. What is this article talking about? It is talking about quota means nothing but reservation. So here certain community called as Walmiki community, they are doing protest related to reservation. So reservation is there in your polity, right? Especially fundamental rights which talks about reservation. And even we are talking about positive affirmations which is taken by the government for upliftment of certain vulnerable sections of society. So from that point of view, you have to see, and you have to see why this Walmiki community is protesting, and you have to see constitutional provisions related to this reservations in India and which Supreme Court judgment kept a cap on reservations in India. You have to see that. And this is also important from your polity. And next topic is West Asia crisis triggers panic sale of seafood products by aqua farmers in Andhra Pradesh. Because of this instability in West Asia, it is affecting seafood exports of our country. So we have to see how it is linked. And next topic is Railways launches app for women staff to report harassment. So recently Ministry of Railways came up with one important app. Through this app, especially whoever the women workforce who are working these railways, they can directly complain about this harassment. So which act we can connect this with? POSH Act. Yes. What is the full form of this POSH Act? Prevention of Sexual Harassment at Workplace Act. So here, wherever the women who are working in these railways, if they are facing any sexual harassment, then they can directly file in this app. So this app is very important for adding your value for your answers, and even whenever you are writing any case studies regarding the sexual harassments related to ethics, you can add this as an example. Recently, Ministry of Railways launched an app. You have to mention that app. In the same way, we have to go for launching of the similar kind of apps in different arenas like in private and as well as in public areas. And next topic is end of chapter. The shuffle of governors aids the perception of central interference. So here in our earlier class, in our last class, we discussed that governors of Tamil Nadu had been replaced, right? Changed. And here governor of Kerala got the additional thing, they have to take care of Tamil Nadu, right? So we discussed about that ahead of elections in these states. So reshuffling of the governors happened. In that earlier class, we discussed about the provisions of this governor, what you have to remember, everything. And now this article is saying that if the shuffling of governors is happening means we can see that there is a perception of central interference is increasing in this elections. So here you have to say about what are the challenges we are facing in our system related to this governance. And this topic is again important from your polity. And next topic is one nation, one election, remedy worse than disease. What is one nation, one election? It is also called as simultaneous elections. Here this article is talking about especially challenges related to simultaneous elections, and UPSC asked many times the question related to the simultaneous elections in your mains. And this topic is important from your polity from GS paper 2. And next topic is why did US Supreme Court reject Trump's tariff? I think long ago we discussed about this article that Supreme Court of US said this tariffs imposed by US President, that is Donald Trump, is not right. And it is the power of whom to impose the taxes or tariffs? Congress. The same article which is given here. So just let us have a revision regarding that. So these all are the topics now we are going to discuss in this class. Okay, look at the title guys. Regulations to implement new Rural Job Act yet to be finalized. So you know that this article is talking about VBG Ramji Act. Okay. Now first of all tell me the full form. VB is Viksit Bharat. G Ramji? Ajivika Mission. Before that? Guarantee for rural employment. Very good. Ajivika Mission Gramin. Okay. Here, why we came up with this? We came up with this Rural Employment Act in year 2005, that is MG Narega. What is the full form of MG Narega? Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. Okay, so that was in 2005 and now we are in this 2020. This had been more than 20 years. So because of this, lots of things had been changed at the ground level. So because of this, we need to update our old schemes. Because of that, we came up with this Viksit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar and Ajivika Mission 2025 and it replaced earlier MG Narega Act. Okay, so which ministry is implementing that? It is very important and keep star mark. This year you will be getting for sure question 2026 related to this VBG Ramji Act. Okay, so here first of all you have to know the full form. Viksit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar and Ajivika Mission Gramin. And which ministry is saying this? Rural Development Ministry. Please make a note. Ministry of Rural Development is coming up with that of this scheme. And actually, what are the provisions of this scheme? How it is different from earlier scheme? Anyone? Can you recall the provisions? Earlier we have MG Narega, right? And now we have VBG Ramji Act. How it is different? What are the differences? I want only differences. MG Narega is providing how many days of guarantee employment? It is providing 100. Then what about this? 125. Next. It is central sector scheme. Very good. It is now central sponsored scheme. What is the difference between these two? Here 100% funds will come from central government for MG Narega. But now state and center has to share the amount. So what is the percentage? 60 is to 40. 60 comes from center and 40 comes from state. And any other changes, differences? First one, here whenever the work is there in this agriculture fields in villages, this scheme will be suspended, right? Regarding this new scheme, but there was no suspension of this kind of scheme in earlier. And any other difference? Come on, think. What about the payments? So now we are going to have weekly payments. Okay, now you know at least 3 to 4 differences between earlier MG Narega and now this VBG Ramji Act. Now you guys tell me, what are the challenges we have to implement this act at the ground level? What are the problems now do we have? Seeing this challenges, tell me. Yes, state spending will be increased or not now? Okay, now spendings of states will increase. So that what happened? There will be increased burden on state exchequer. Next, one thing is right. That is increasing of burden on states. Next, what about this 60 days of relaxation? If you see in southern states, we have good Kharif. If you go to northern states, we have good Rabi. Do this Rabi and Kharif season matches? Again, we have regional disturbances or regional differences in India because of the latitudinal extent of India. Because India will fall under tropical and as well as temperate region, right? Okay, differences in regions. Next, any other thing that you can expect here? What about attendance? How can we check whether those people came and they started working in this? We are using different online platforms for attendance. The major problem here is in every village, do we have proper internet facility in remote areas? No. So if you are going for this fingerprint, if we are going for this using of online apps for attendance, then it is not suitable for all village areas. And even, do you know leprosy? Leprosy is a disease. In Telugu, we'll call it as Kusht Vyadhi antar. Do you know this? So what happens if a person who is getting that means their fingerprints will be getting erased. So because of this, they cannot access the things through their fingerprint. So because of this, what happened? Those people will be getting excluded. Okay, so these are the lots of challenges. Now we have to implement this VBG Ramji Act at the grassroots level. So because of this, now our government is designing some regulations so that we can implement it as soon as possible in the villages. Because of this, it is in news. Okay, now let us see here what is the issue. Center has not yet finalized key parameters and as well as rules which are needed for implementation of this scheme at the ground level. And next one here is state-wise budget allocation is also not yet decided by the government. And here in the states, we have normal states, we have hilly or mountainous states, and even we have UTs. For normal states, the sharing is 60 is to 40. And Himalayan states, normally it will be 90 is to 10. And for UTs, it is 100%. So for this also we have big states, we have small states, states with more population, some states are having less population. Based on that, center government will be deciding how much corpus amount should be given to the states. But till today, that had not yet been decided. This is second problem now. Okay, next one here is, in most of the areas, gram panchayats are very important to implement this scheme because they have to provide the work for the people. So what is the problem here is, there is no proper development of parameters for categorizing gram panchayats. Because some villages are like very big villages, some are medium, some are small villages. So based on that, the villages will be divided into A, B, C type categories. Now, this ABC type of categories had not yet been finalized by the government. Again, it is one more issue now. Okay, and even different rules related to social audits and implementation details have not yet been ready till today. Because of this, the implementation is delaying in at the ground level. That is the thing which mainly said here. And even certain states, they are not accepting with the center. Why? Because certain states do not have proper performance in earlier times, and even there is high migration in some states, and even demand based metrics are different from one state to another state. Because of this, some states are not accepting this scheme to be implemented. Yeah, that is the thing, guys. And what are the impacts if you are not implementing that scheme at the ground level? Is that good? Because this scheme is providing livelihood opportunities with the basic minimum income for the people who are really wanted that. So why government came up with the minimum amount of wages should be given in that? So what is the normal wage given in this MG Narega? Any idea? It will be varying from state to state, that is there. But what is the minimum wage that we can get under this scheme per day? 270 in Karnataka. Last time 370, but now this time 15 rupees increased or decreased? Every year 15 rupees increased. So normally it will be from 250 rupees to 400 rupees based on the state. So if your income is like middle income family, will you go and will you do that job? No, right? So only the people who are at the verge of livelihood, who needs that direly, they will only go and they will do the work under this MG-Narega scheme. That means it is providing livelihood support for the targeted people in our country. But if you are not implementing now because of some delays, then what happen? There will be risk of unemployment in rural areas. And next important one here is, many people who are under this below poverty line, they depended on this MG Narega scheme, and if there is no work which is provided under that scheme by the government, means they will also not able to get whatever the basic needs they want, like even food as well. So because of this, furthermore increased poverty rates, hunger rates and malnutrition can happen in our country. That is the second important point that you have to remember. And next one here is, weaker states may face higher burdens because of this central sponsorship now. Okay, and disruption of livelihoods can happen. And if there is no proper livelihood, proper employment opportunities, do people live in that area? No, they will come out of that area in search of work. So because of this, what happens? Migration can happen. So because of this migration, further other problems can arise in our society. Okay, and obviously it will lead to erosion of trust. People will lose the trust on government now, and now we have to focus on more better planning, and we have to reduce the delays. So in this way you have to see this article is. So what is this VBG Ramji Act? To provide statutory guarantee for wage employment, especially in rural areas, not in urban areas. So UPSC can use this statement like, it is providing statutory guarantee of employment to urban households. So you have to see that urban will be changed with rural, rural will be changed with urban. So in this way, many a times UPSC make this word as a used as a trap. So you should not fall under that trap. You have to be very clear while reading the statements. It is related to rural households, and they are focusing on even creation of durable assets. Under this scheme, what they are going to make, they'll go for recreation of ponds, they'll go for construction of tanks, they'll go for construction of buildings, they'll go for construction of roads and even plantations. Like that, they will try to create certain assets. This scheme is not only providing employment opportunities, they will be also providing assets that will be helpful for the future development of that village. And next one here is, this scheme is focusing on improving of rural employment with broader economic goals, and they want to integrate this local development plans to our future economic development plan, that is Viksit Bharat. So why we are focusing on now in the rural areas? So when can we say India is a developed country? Almost every area should be developed, then only we can say our country is a developed. So because of this, through this VBG Ramji Act, now we are going for focusing on development of infrastructure even in the rural areas, so that we can achieve our target of Viksit Bharat by 2047. If you are not developing villages, we cannot achieve that target. And next, we are focusing on especially increasing of roadways, transportation facilities, and we have to integrate with that PM Gati Shakti of our government. Okay, that is the thing is, and we increased this employment from 100 days to 125 days, and central sector scheme to centrally sponsored scheme. Okay, see this next article. Walmiki community to protest for rising quota. Okay, what you have to see? You have to see about quota. Quota is nothing but reservation. Second one is about which community. Now, this Walmiki community, they are protesting for reservation. In which state we can see this Walmikis? In Karnataka. That means in Karnataka, this issue of Walmiki's protest for reservation is going on. So first of all, you have to understand why this protest are happening in state of Karnataka. And next one here is, in the same way in many states, different communities are fighting for reservation. Can anyone tell me some examples of other communities which are fighting for reservation? Karnataka, in Karnataka, Valmikis and even Vokalingas. Next. Okay, Metis, they are asking for reservation in which state? Manipur. Next. Marathas are fighting for Maratha reservation in which state? Maharashtra. And others, Jats are asking for reservation. Which state? Haryana and as well as Rajasthan also next. So here you have to make a list of communities which are fighting for reservation in India, which are in news. You may get a question. Consider the following pairs. On one side, they will be giving you this community names. On the other side, they will give you state in which the protests are happening. That is the one possible question. And second possible question is about constitutional provisions related to reservation. And they may ask you about recent Supreme Court judgment related to reservation of communities related to education as well as employment opportunities. So in this way, like 3 to 4 types of questions you can expect from this topic. Okay, now let us see this in detail. Walmiki community, primarily in Karnataka, they are classified under scheduled tribes. And now they are protesting against the state government. Why? Because state government took a decision to reduce their ST reservation quota from 7% to 3%. Okay, so already this Valmikis are scheduled tribes in Karnataka. Earlier government used to provide 7% of reservation, but now government decided to reduce that 7 to 3%. So will they be silent? They started doing protest in Karnataka. Because of this, it is in news. Okay, so why they are protesting? If this reservation had been decreased from 7% to 3%, will it affect their employment opportunities? Will it affect their educational opportunities? Yes. So here they are going to have a recruitment. In this recruitment, around 50% of overall reservation cap and no internal sub quotas they are not applying now. So because of this, what happens? Their presentation in this employment will be obviously decreased. From 7 to 3% means obviously more than 50% of reservation had been reduced for them. So because of this, they are saying that our representation, like Walmiki's representation in the government jobs, will be obviously affected. That is the thing they are protesting against. If you say about the constitutional legal basis related to reservation in our country, we have certain articles like Article 15 subclass 4, 16 subclass 4, Article 330, Article 332 and Article 335. They are dealing with SCs and as well as STs. Please make a note, guys. Reservation to SCs and STs. Reservation to SCs and STs are provided in articles like 15 subclass 4, 15 subclass 4, 16 subclass 4, Article 330, Article 332 and Article 335. Okay. And there is one important topic in your polity. You will be studying about scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. And from this area, UPSC asked around 10 to 15 questions in your prelims earlier. If you see your PYQs from last 2013 till 2025, you can see around 8 decent number of questions from this SCs and STs. So there UPSC can ask you a question related to who will decide whether a community comes under ST or not. What is the role of governor in deciding that SC and ST? And they will be especially focusing on AMMT, that is Schedule 6 areas, and we have Schedule 5 areas, right? So on the Schedule 6 and Schedule 5 areas also, UPSC asked good number of questions. So you have to make a list of differences between what is the schedule areas and what is schedule tribe. And next you have to say about what Schedule 5 and Schedule 6. You have to know clear-cut differentiation between these two schedules and what is the role of president and what is the role of governor. On these roles of governor and president, they gave the question. And they also asked the question, and they also give the statement regarding state legislature role and as well as parliament role in SCs and as well as STs. So you have to see this and you have to keep star mark for the schedule areas and scheduled tribes. Very important topic on which UPSC repeatedly asked question. Okay, so now here if you see about this list of SC or ST, they are notified by president, not by governor. Normally if you see the statements related to this polity, they will be always interchanging this president with governor, governor with prime minister or chief minister. You have to know clearly who will be doing that. There should be no confusion regarding whether it is president or governor, whether it is prime minister or chief minister. Okay. So here it is notified by president under article 341 for SCs and under article 342 for ST. And next one here is who is having the power to make any laws? Parliament. If president is there means parliament will come. If governor is there means state legislature will come. You should not confuse. Here president is notifying them and now parliament has the power to make any laws related to this SCs and STs. And what is the role of state? State can recommend, only recommend for inclusion or exclusion of any group from that list under article 341 and under article 342. Clear? And now recently we discussed about denotified tribes and we discussed about only denotified tribes, no? Okay, why it was in news? Why it was in news? Why we discussed about denotified tribes recently? Yes, in our census, we are going to have a separate list for this, separate column for this denotified tribes, and if they are identified, if they are added in this list, they are going to get benefits under whatever the government schemes are provided by the government for them, right? So this is one thing that you have to remember. There also UPSC can link that caste census with this basic provision. So why they are coming with that? If we are having a proper list of these denotified tribes, now states, they can recommend them to include them or exclude them in this list of SCs and STs which is given under article 341 and under 342. So that what happens, if they are listed in that, they will be getting benefits under this schemes provided by the government. Are you understanding? Again, that current affairs can be linked with this point. What is the role of a state? State can recommend for the inclusions and exclusions. But who will give the final approval? Final approval requires to be given by this Register General of India. And National Commission for Scheduled Tribes and Scheduled Castes should give the final approval for that. Clear? So in this way, UPSC can confuse you. You have to be very clear. And if you see about some facts related to this Walmiki community across India, Walmiki community is also called as Balmiki, Bangi, Mehtar. And it is primarily classified as scheduled caste in most states like UP, Punjab, Delhi, West Bengal, Jammu and Kashmir, and especially in the state of Karnataka, they had been listed under ST guys. Okay, that's it. And say this article, West Asia crisis triggers panic sale of seafood products by aqua farmers in Andhra Pradesh. What is title saying about? You know about West Asia instability, Israel, US, Iran, they are fighting. You know this, right? No need of telling again that story. Okay, so now you know that in West Asia, instability and West Asia is in crisis. So because of this, it is impacting our seafood products. How this West Asia instability is affecting our seafood products? Can anyone tell me the link? What is the link between them? Huh? What is the link between West Asian crisis and seafood products of India, especially from AP? Exports are getting affected. So our Indian exports to this West Asia decreased. That is a one possible thing. Second one is we have Strait of Hormuz. So if India is sending our exports via the Strait of Hormuz, because of this closure of Strait of Hormuz, our exports are not entering beyond the Strait of Hormuz. Because of this, what is happening here? Our seafood products are getting affected. That is why it is in news. And this year for sure, you may get a question related to the seafood products in our country. Why? Because US tariffs also impacted this seafoods a lot. Because of that, we are going for licensing. Yes, we are getting license so that we are trying to diversify our supply chain. So I said about that licensing also in our earlier class. So because of this change which we made in our seafood exports, UPSC for sure wants you to know about that, because you're also going to write for IRS. Yes, you're also in that service. You also have kept, I think, trade, ITS, also Indian trade service is also one of your option, right? The trade is related to this exports and imports only. So if you're bringing any changes related to this, obviously UPSC wants to know, right? What are the exam that you are writing, which all service you want to enter? If you are not knowing about the basis, are you eligible? So this time focus on the seafood products and see about what are the changes came up by our government of India recently. And here it is talking about AP. So which of the states in India they are good at production of seafood? You have to make the list of states, increasing order and decreasing order. Also they may ask the question. Are you understanding? Okay, that is about these products. And now you have to make a note of certain facts. India exports seafood products to about 128 countries in the world. Please make a note. On this also you may get a statement, because last year they gave the statements regarding in turmeric of our country. So here they gave already a hint that yes, we are going to ask questions regarding the exports and imports of our country. So from that point of view, you have to make a note of this. India exports seafood products to about 128 countries like US, Japan, Vietnam, China, Thailand, Canada, Italy, and Russia, and those of West Asia. And we are also sending our exports to European Union and Southeast Asia. And this one is shrimp and fish are being cultivated in about 4 lakh acres. In 4 lakh acres of AP, especially in East Godavari, Elore, West Godavari, and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Konaseema, Krishna, Vishakhapatnam, Nellore, Prakasham, and Guntur districts. Besides coastal areas, in all these areas they are going for this shrimp and fish cultivation. It is about 4 lakh areas. If these exports are getting affected, means obviously most of the economy of AP will be getting affected related to the seafood sector. Okay, and there is one more fact. Okay, why it is facing some issue here is because of Israel-Iran war. Some Gulf countries have reportedly disrupted shipments at few ports, creating a panic among aquaculture traders and farmers. And farmers have reportedly begun harvesting shrimp prematurely and selling the produce at lower prices in domestic market. First one here is it is affecting the exports. Exports are not reaching on time. And second one is now farmers they are going for harvesting of the shrimp prematurely. Do you know this shrimp is nothing but prawns? Prawns price is based on the size of the prawn. Especially AP guys, you know this, I guess. So how many prawns are there for 1 kg? If you are going, if the size of this prawn is big, means we'll get less number of prawns per kg. If prawn size is less, means more number of prawns will be there for kg, right? So based on the size of the prawn, the price will be. If you go to fish market, then you will be know all these things. That based on the size of the prawns, the price, size is related to the price. So if you are going for this harvesting of this shrimp prematurely, that means before complete maturity, if they are going for this harvesting, means the size will be obviously less. If the size is less, means they have to sell at low prices. Because of this, the profits of the shrimp cultivators is also getting affected in AP. That is the next important point. Okay, there will be a count, 60 count shrimp, 100 count, 50 count, 40 count. That means for 1 kg only 60 pieces of prawns will be there. 40 count means for 1 kg 40 pieces of prawns. No idea. Only eating we know, but we don't know what is that. Okay, that is the thing, guys. Why they are getting loss here is because of Strait of Hormuz, because of decreased exports to West Asian countries, and each one here is they are going for harvesting of these prawns early. Because of this, the price is decreasing in the market. So these 3 important things that you have to remember. And now the question will go like this. Please do answer for this question. If you are a district collector of this area, You can select one district in this West Godavari or like Ambedkar, in that area which is very high in this production of the shrimp and fish. Normally, what happens if you're harvesting this fish? How many days we can store? Maximum in ice. By using ice only. By using ice only, we can store that. How many days we can store? That means the shelf life of this fish is very less compared to that of other things, right? So because of this, what happened? Whenever we are storing for the long periods, what happens here is mercury will be getting deposited in this fish meat. Then that will be like very dangerous. Because of that, pregnant women, they are strictly banned from eating of fish which is stored in ice, because they will be having mercury levels. If a pregnant woman is consuming that, that will be carried to the baby. That will leads to bioaccumulation in the next generation. So because of this, mercury contained fish is strictly prohibited and banned in pregnant women. Okay, so because of this, what happened? If the shelf life is very less, can we store for the long time? We cannot. If you're not storing for the long time, after harvesting, if you're not able to sell that, obviously that will lead to huge losses. Because of this reason also, now they are facing huge losses. Now if you are a district collector in that area and the people are complaining about this exports, and there is decreasing of livelihood of the people and people are not getting money, and they started doing protest before your office, and how can you control and which kind of measures you can take to increase the livelihood opportunities for these people? This will be a possible question. What can you do? Huh? Pickles. Next. If everyone is doing pickles only, how, where can they get the market, Akash? By exporting of pickles. Next. That is nothing but we are focusing on food processing. Okay. We are not only selling this raw fish or shrimp, we have to focus on food processing. That is one idea. Next. Dry fish. Dry fish. Next. What can be done? No idea. AP guys, think about this once. And you have to ensure proper livelihood and proper income support for this farmers who are focusing on this shrimp and fish cultivation. Okay, think on this, AP guys. And this is one interview question also this time. See this next article, guys. Cheetahs moving from Kuno to Rajasthan, showing natural territorial behavior, says NTCA. Where you have to focus on? What is NTCA? National Tiger Conservation Authority. What is this? When it was formed? What is its function? Hmm? To protect tiger reserves. When it was, is it a constitutional body? No, statutory. Okay, statutory means it is established under an act. Can you tell me which act is that under which we established NTCA? Environmental Protection Act or Wildlife Protection Act? Tell me. Wildlife. Okay. This article is talking about cheetahs, right? Do cheetahs present in India naturally? It had been extincted. Because of that, we got these cheetahs from which country? Two countries are there in this Africa continent. What are they? From which we got these cheetahs? First one is Namibia. Second one is South Africa. South Africa and Namibia, from these two, we got these cheetahs which had been extinct. Why these cheetahs had extincted in India? What is the reason? What do you think? Only climate change is the reason? Hunting, especially at that time during medieval times, the king's major recreation activity is going for killing of these cheetahs. And especially it is a pride to have this cheetah skin in the home. In many old movies you might have seen this. If they are showing some person who is having the great power like that, they will focus on this cheetah's skin on which is hanging on the wall, and later on the camera will be shifted to that person, so that we can understand that this cheetahs killing, it is one of the recreation activity. It is also a status, it is a pride at that time. So because of this, cheetahs became extinct in India, and now again we are trying to reintroduce in this way. Like we came up with this project Cheetah, and we got around 20 cheetahs from Namibia and South Africa into India. and finally they are surviving. Okay, and recently many articles came that we have 3 cubs, we have 5 cubs, like that. Okay, now you have to focus on this Cheetah, Project Cheetah, and you have to see about this NTCA also. On these 2 areas, you can expect a question. On NTCA, already UPSC asked prelims based question in earlier. Okay, now let us see here about this Project Cheetah. India launched this Project Cheetah in year 2022, and we started reintroducing of these cheetahs which had been extinct in our country over 70 years ago. Before 70 years itself, these cheetahs become extinct, and now we are reintroducing these cheetahs from Africa. And it is operated under Project Tiger. Project Cheetah is the world's first intercontinental large wild carnivore translocation project. That is a specialty. It is a world's first intercontinental. That means we are bringing this cheetah from Africa and we are introducing in Asia. It is happening between 2 continents. And important objectives are, the first one here is, we have to establish breeding population of cheetahs. Breeding population is nothing but after getting that cheetahs, they have to go for reproduction and they have to reproduce in our national park. That is called as breeding population, and we are success in that. And next one is, cheetahs are flagship species. In your environment, I think you have come across umbrella species, keystone species, flagship species. What is the meaning of a flagship species? And on this keystone species, UPSC asked 3 times a question. On flagship species, UPSC asked once, I guess, if I'm not wrong. So what is a flagship species? A major one? How it is a major one? Flagship means? Think and tell me. What is a keystone species? Keystone. Very important species which will be helpful for survival of other animals in that area. Then what is flagship? It is about charisma. Okay, so especially we have rhino, we have elephant, we have cheetah. They are very known for their ecological role. So for protection of this charismatic species, we will say that that is a flagship species. So see the difference between this umbrella species, flagship species, keystone species, and other bioindicator species. Other species, what are there? Pioneer species. So what is pioneer species? On this pioneer species, UPSC asked 5 to 6 times. Okay, that is the first species which comes into existence in this primary succession, right? That is called as pioneer species. On this pioneer species, UPSC asked question many a times. So you have to know exactly what is the difference between one species to another species. Okay, and cheetah is a flagship species. So because of this, we want to restore our open forest and as well as savanna ecosystem with this species. And we want to go for eco-development and eco-tourism by improving of this number. And we have to enhance community awareness and to reduce human-animal conflict. We came up with this project of cheetah. Okay, and who will be implementing this? NTCA, National Tiger Conservation Authority. Under which ministry? Please make a note. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, MOEFCC. So you may get as simple question as this, like recently NTCA is in news. NTCA is focusing on protection of tiger, which is working under which ministry? Like that also you will be getting a simple question. It comes under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Okay, it is a statutory body which had been established under Wildlife Protection Act. Please make a note. It is not Environment Protection Act. It is under Wildlife Protection Act, under which we came up with this NTCA. Yeah, that's it. See this next article, guys. Railways launches app for women staff to report harassment. Okay, yesterday is International Women's Day, right? On this day, Ministry of Railways launched this app. And the name of this app is Shine. Please make a note. Shine. You may get a simple question. Recently, Shine is in news. It is an app related to sexual harassment. Okay. Or else, recently, Shine app had been launched by which of the following ministry? Ministry of Railways, Environment, Telecom, like that. They'll give you the options. So here you have to remember it is launched by Ministry of Railways and the name of this app is Shine app. It is focusing on reporting of sexual harassment at workplace. Okay, see here. Indian Railways has launched a customized app for women employees to lodge complaints about sexual harassment at workplace. And the full form of that Shine is Sexual Harassment Incident Notification for Empowerment. Sexual Harassment Incident Notification for Empowerment. Okay, and this is according to this Vishaka guidelines of 1977, because this Vishaka guidelines only said that we have to provide safety for women at this workplace. Under that only we came up with this implementation of POSH Act, and according to these guidelines they came up with this Shine. And in this Shine, women employees can directly lodge their complaints related to this sexual harassment. On behalf of outsiders also they can complain, and even contract staff also will be there. No, in railways they will be having permanent staff and as well as contract staffs. On behalf of the contract staffs and as well as students and other who cannot have that access, now women can, who are the permanent employers, they can take this and they can directly file the case in that app. Okay, see this next article, guys. End of chapter. The shuffle of governors aids perception of central interference. So what we discussed in the last class, we discussed about shuffling of governors of states ahead of elections. Okay, now let us see here. In that, we discussed about Article 200 also. What is Article 200? In that class, we discussed it is about the power of governor related to passage of bills. If the bill after passing in the houses like state assembly and as well as council, if that bill comes to governor, what are the whatever the powers that this governor has, which is said in this Article 200. What are the powers the governor has? He can give his assent or he can send back for reconsideration. Next one is he can reject, and third one is, fourth one here is he can keep that bill for the president, right? So these are the four powers of governor which are said in this Article 200. So now let us see what exactly this article is saying that. So here reshuffling of governors of the states happened, and that we discussed on this Saturday's class. Now this article is saying that if the shuffling of governors is happening, who will shuffle this? President, right? We discussed that Draupadi Murmu, the president of India, came up with shuffling of this governors from one state to another state. So now it is showing that there is increased central government's power in the states by this reshuffling of governors ahead of elections. That is this article is about. So here if you're talking about the role of governor, which is present in the part 6 of our Indian Constitution, and related to governor, we have certain articles. Article 153 to Article 162 talks about the powers of the governor. So if you see the challenges and issues which are given in this article, first one here is appointment of governor often reflect political affiliations which undermines neutrality. Why? Because if you compare this governor and as well as CM, if you see here, CM will be appointed by who? Who will appoint this CM? Yes. So who will elect this CM? People. But what is about this governor? Do we have any elections for this governor? No. But who will appoint them? President will appoint this governor, and that governor will not even the part of that state. He is not the resident of that state. Outsider of the state will be appointed as a governor by this president. That means there is an increasing of center government's influence, and there is a notion that there is undermine the neutrality. And this one here is governors occasionally they act in the ways perceived and as favoring the union. So whenever any decision they have to take, they will be taking decision which is supporting the union government rather than the state government. Because of that only the issue which is happening between the governor and as well as CM in this Tamil Nadu, that we know that. So because of this, what is happening here? our constitution says that we have to work impartially, especially this constitutional post, they have to work impartial. But many a times, whatever the work which is done by this governor, they are partial, they are showing partiality towards the union government. So because of this, the principles of our constitution is undermined. That is a one important thing which mainly highlighted here. And whatever the tenure here for governor, governor is appointed by the president with his hand and seal, that we discussed, right? That means he will be working under the pleasure of president. So normally what are the tenure we have? This governor will be working throughout the tenure? We don't know. In between only this kind of transferring or reshuffling can happen. Sometimes they will be removed. Yes. So here there is no fixed tenure protection. Because of this, governors are susceptible to arbitrary removal because they are appointed by the president under hand and seal. And even sometimes frequent reshuffling can happen. If there is reshuffling of the governors between the states, it impacts institutional continuity. And what happens, sudden post election changes can also impact the post of the governor. That is the second important challenge. And next one here is lack of autonomy in decision making. Normally if they have to give assent related to any bill which is having any important consideration that we have to take from the central government, that bill has to be reserved for the president assent. So here again, president has his own powers regarding the passage of bill. So now what is the thing which is happening in the states here is, we have states. In this state, some states we have bicameral states, in some states we have unicameral. In bicameral states we have two houses. We have state legislative assembly and we have state legislative council. In unicameral states we have only state legislative assembly, no council. So after passing of bill in these two houses, they will keep before governor for assent. And here governor, he has his power under article 200. If the bill is dealing with any federal features, means they have to reconsider that bill for president, and president has his own power, that is article 201, regarding again giving of assent for that bill or not. So what is happening here is, here governor is acting towards the favor of union, and even president will be acting towards the favor of again central. He is a central power, central authority. So because of this, what is happening here is, there is no proper passage of bills. Because of this, the development of the states are undermined because of this post of governor and as well as president power under article 201. That is the thing which mainly said here. If you are going for the frequent reshuffling, what happens? The bills will not be passed. That things, passage of bills will be getting stalled, and sometimes the bills will be getting lapsed. And this one here is, the discretionary powers can be used by this governor, so that what happens, they can stop for the implementation of policies or passing of that bills, which happened in the case of Tamil Nadu. And even we are having certain federal challenges, okay, between governor, CM as well. Okay, so these are some challenges which are said in this article related to this governor. You see this article, guys, one nation, one election, remedy worse than disease. One nation, one election is nothing but simultaneous elections. So what is the concept of one nation, one election? We have Lok Sabha, we have state legislative assembly, right? Okay, to be very clear, so we have central government, we have state government. In center, for sure, we have bicameralism, that is 100%. We have Lok Sabha, we have Rajya Sabha. In state government, it is an optional. It is an option. If state wants to have the two houses, it can. If state wants to have one house, it can. So in the states, we have option, we have bicameralism, and we have unicameralism. So at the central level, for Lok Sabha, direct elections will happen. And at state level, for the state legislative assembly, direct elections will happen. People will be electing them directly, right? So this concept of simultaneous election is nothing but, at a time, for this Lok Sabha and as well as for state legislative assembly, The elections should be conducted on the same day in the same booth. That concept is called as simultaneous elections. Okay, if you have an idea, in Telangana also last time we have simultaneous elections. Do you know this? We have two EVMs and we have to vote in these two EVMs on that same day, on the same polling, everything. That is called a simultaneous election. Simultaneous election is nothing but we have to go for Lok Sabha and as well as state legislative elections, assembly elections on the same day. That is called as simultaneous elections. Okay, in India, when we got independence, at that time we used to have simultaneous elections. And later on, what happened? In the states, if the government is not stable, if they are resolving, then what happened? They'll go for elections immediately. And at the central level also, if we do not have the proper stable government, if no confidence motion had been passed, then again they have to go for dissolving and they have to go for elections. So because of this, what happened? The simultaneous election phenomena had been disturbed in our country. Okay, now discussions are going on related to this implementation of simultaneous elections in our country. But this article is saying that simultaneous elections is worse than a disease. It is not a remedy. It is going to alter federal changes. So you have to see how the simultaneous elections is going to be a bad thing in our country. That is the thing which is given in this article. So if you see about the simultaneous elections, it is known as one nation, one election. It means holding elections to House of People, that is nothing but Lok Sabha, and all state legislative assemblies together. This concept is called as simultaneous elections. So what are the challenges we have? So if you are going for this Lok Sabha and as well as state legislative assembly elections on that same day, what happens? The national issues will be dominated over this regional or state specific concerns. That is a one problem. And in the states, we have majorly regional political parties. Okay, in our earlier class, I said about national political parties and state political parties, and you have to know the difference. So have you worked on it? National political parties are nothing but whatever the votes which had been polled, they have to get 6% of votes. That is the first criteria. And next one is whatever the Lok Sabha seats are there, that political party has to get 2% of seats. This is the second criteria. And third criteria here is that political party should be state political party in 4 states. Then that political party is considered as a national political party. So these are the 3 criteria to be satisfied if that political party should get the status of national political party or not. Okay, and here we have around 6 criteria, I guess, to say that political party is a state political party. Just see once what is the criteria for the state political party. Okay, so here what is happening here is at the national level we have national political parties and at the state level we have state political parties. Apart from that, even we have small regional political parties. In Telangana state, which are the regional political parties we have? BRS. So what happens here is if we are conducting elections for Lok Sabha and state legislative assembly, who will become much highlight? We know Congress party, we know BJP party. So here if they don't know like which EVM is for what, they'll go and they will just press this only the political parties they know, like national political parties. So because of this, what happens? Regional political parties will be getting disadvantaged. That is the first important problem. And this one here is regional parties will be getting impact. In the simultaneous elections, mostly these national political parties will be getting benefited compared to these regional political parties. And this one is political accountability. So whenever we are going for the frequent elections, if you are going for frequent elections, that will lead to greater accountability among lawmakers. And they can strengthen our regular public scrutiny here. So rather than that, here if you are going for simultaneous elections means entire our country has to go for election on one day, one go. That will be increasing the burden on the staff, and obviously we do not have that much infrastructure to conduct elections because now each polling booth need to have 2 EVMs, one for MPs and one for legislative assembly. So that kind of infrastructure is also not present. in our country. And this one here is, if we want to go for conduction of election on a single day means, what happens here is there will be stalling of everything on that so and so election day. We will be controlling certain areas, right? So what happens if we want to control everything and if you want to ensure free and fair election, that too in this big country with largest population is impossible in our country. So because of this also it is one challenge. And next one is, we are going to have certain issues related to federalism as well. And even we have logistic challenges. So because of this we cannot go with this one nation, one election in our country. That is the thing which is said in this article. And see this next article, guys. Why did USSC reject Trump's tariffs? You know about this story, about this Trump's tariff. Trump started imposing of tariffs on different countries. The first reason they said is protectionism. America is for Americans. American economy is looted because of other countries, like that. They want to protect this America. And whatever the trade imbalance which is there with other countries, they want to maintain trade balance. For that, US in this 2.0, that is Trump 2.0 era, he started imposing tariffs on many countries to maintain the trade balance. And you know, US also came up with this Russian Sanction Act, and it started imposing more and more tariffs on other countries to stop this Russia-Ukraine war. And India is also one victim under that. Okay, now here US Supreme Court gave a judgment that International Emergency Powers Act does not giving the power to president to impose tariffs. It is a power of Congress. It is a power of Congress to impose tariffs and to collect taxes and to regulate trade with foreign countries. And president must identify clear congressional authorization to impose them. Actually, now what happened in this US is, without the permission of Congress, they are imposing taxes on other countries. But whatever the act which is there in US, the name of that act is IEEPA, which says that Congress permission is very important for imposition of tariffs by the president, but that had not been taken. So because of this, it is not right. This is a Supreme Court judgment of US. Okay. Now let us see the next questions. It is 2012 PYQ, guys, of environment and ecology. See this. Consider the following. First one is black-necked crane, cheetah, flying squirrel, snow leopard. Which of the above are naturally found in India? 1, 3, 4. So how can you expect the questions from environment and ecology is? You know now cheetah is not there in India. It had been extincted and we launched this project Cheetah and we can eliminate this. So here if you see about this flying squirrel, it is appeared in 2012, right? In 2023, there was a separate question related to flying squirrel. Consider the following statements regarding flying squirrel, and they gave 3 statements under that. Next time, you may get a question regarding this black-necked crane or snow leopard. And even regarding this snow leopard, India launched this project Snow Leopard. So like that, you have to make a clear-cut notes of animals and plants which are there in this environment and ecology. On that only questions are repeating. Earlier, they asked about marsupial. Marsupial is nothing but the animals which is having a pouch. In that pouch, the premature babies are stored till they get maturity. Example is kangaroo. So on that, again, the question asked in 2022. So like that, whatever the questions they asked earlier from this examples or from this options, they are framing the questions again and again. So you have to focus on that, guys. If you do PYQs, you can understand how the questions are asking this environment and ecology. Mostly, if you read around 8 areas, that will be enough for your environment and ecology. Okay, if you do this PYQs, then you will be getting that idea of which topics that you have to read and which topics you have to leave, and how you have to prepare, and what exactly UPSC is focusing on. And there are around 25 to 30 animals which are asked in this UPSC PYQs. If you have made the notes for them, then you can eliminate the next year questions, or on that only the separate questions can be framed by UPSC. Okay, see this next question, guys. Consider the following statements regarding key changes introduced by VBG Ramji Act compared to MG Narega. So this is the one of the most possible question. In this way, you may get a question in your prelims. First one is it mandates weekly wage payments instead of 15-day cycle under MG Narega. Second one is it imposes a mandatory seasonal pause, example 60 days ban during peak agriculture seasons in some cases. Third one is Gram Panchayat lost the power to plan and prioritize works under the new act. Which of the following statements, which of the statements given above are not right? Not right. Not right. Not right. Ah, you fall in the trap. Just now I said it is not right. That means you have to tell me the incorrect statements. Three only. Option B is the right answer. Three only. Because Gram Sabha, especially Gram Panchayats, they have the power to prioritize the plans under even this VBG Ramji bill. Okay. That's all, guys. By this, I'm concluding. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and please do like this class and share this class. And if you want to start your preparation, we are going to launch a new prelims cum mains batch for GS Foundation in this week itself, guys. And if you have any queries, please do contact us on this number 8074765513. Thank you so much, guys.